Standing here in silence. Look, listen, feel.
Yep. That's me. You're probably wondering how Bailu ended up in this situation. Hello internet! It all started as I was staring up the night sky and I just think, I want to commit arson with a kid. Just like any other normal human being, I tried to make my favorite character, Bailu, do 1 million damage. If you're one with no patience, use the timestamps. In order to pull this off, we need two things. First, we need Bailu, and secondly, we need her Lightcone. We also need enough lack of brain cells to full commit on her traces. I, who have all the aforementioned, especially the last one, made my Bailu level 79, made her Lightcone max level, and got most of her skill and ultimate to almost max trace levels. You probably still have zero idea how I pulled it off, so yeah, here's the challenge though. Comment down below how you think it worked, because I want to see some creativity, guys. Anyways, we need to first find out how much damage she can do. It's pretty good, I'd say. It's like 1/100th of a Seele ult. Yeah, we're pretty close to our goal. But here is the weird thing. Whenever I heal with Bailu and then I hit the enemy, we get to see an extra proc of damage. This actually came from her Lightcone, which says it records the outgoing healing from Bailu and converts a percentage of it into damage. Because we're destined for each other, I got super in position 3 and this one, which means almost half of the healing Bailu does are changed into damage. This is like Thanos' glove without the Infinity Stones. So yeah, it's just a glove. It's not really that strong because Bailu's healing isn't infinite, and any one of your allies can also activate Bailu's Lightcone. This wouldn't be an issue, but it is because the Lightcone hit is a one-time thing. You'll have to essentially recharge the healing amount with Bailu for it to turn into damage again. But you know me, I'm a monster virgin, so that has no correlation to the topic. I had to put this Lightcone to the test. It turns out if you only play Bailu, save up 5 skill points and use the skill and ult only on Bailu consecutively, the Lightcone adds up all that healing and turns half of that into damage. I did quite a big number here, as you can see from doing so. I can abuse this. I went ahead and upgraded her traces. I went ahead and solo quickly a difficulty 5 with Bailu, which took me 35 minutes. She won, by the way, wasn't close. Got her traces where I like it and went on a journey to pursue 1 million damage with a cute diagnostic kick. I like being straight, so let's get straight to the point. To do this, I need to only use Bailu in my team. I need to heal infinitely and I need to not die. To achieve the not die part, we can only choose weak enemies. The weakest possible enemy for the entire game at my level are Simulated Universe 1 enemies. In order to achieve the heal infinitely part, I need to get creative. Because I have no life, I found out that this blessing exists. It gives a 45% chance to regain a skill point if we use a skill or ultimate to heal. If I can keep getting the skill point back every time Bailu uses her skill to heal herself, that effectively means we will never run out of skill points, which means we can heal every turn for eternity. Now at this point, you might call me out on mic front, but hey, just wait. Of course I know it is not consistent to just hope for this to happen, but you actually could with Bailu. I find out that Bailu's skill is a 3 bounce heal, and each bounce can activate the blessing individually. You know what this means? I essentially have 45% chances to regain my 1 skill point back that I just spent. That translates to about 9% chance I don't gain my skill point back through all 3 bounces. However though, I can only regain 1 skill point per action, so I can't just get 3 skill points instantly back with 1 skill usage. Now I know you're smart, so you probably understand that this doesn't actually work though. If I get unlucky and got no skill points back from any of my 3 bounce skill, I will have to regain 2 skill points somehow to go back to where I started. But I can't do that because I can only regain 1 skill point back by spending 1 skill point through this blessing. And this blessing only allows me to regain 1 skill point back per action. That means if I'm unlucky enough to keep not activating that blessing with 3 bounces, I will eventually run out of skill points and will be forced to use my basic attack. And as I use that basic attack, that will also mean all my pent up healing is partially converted to damage, and my Lightcone will then be reset and I have to do it all over again. And that also means Bailu will never do a lot of damage. But here is the thing you're missing though. Bailu's ultimate actually counts as a separate action. This means if I lose a skill point and I don't regain it, I can still potentially regain it with using my ultimate. That basically means if I get lucky, I will gain 2 skill points back for every skill usage, assuming I can use my ultimate every turn. And just so happens in Simulated Universe 1, the boss gives you a crud ton of energy when it hits. And that is how I can use my skill, and if I don't gain the point back, I can use my ultimate to get the point back that way. Of course, I can definitely still get nothing back for my ultimate though, but as long as I keep stalling the game, eventually I'll get an extra point from the ultimate. And there you have it. I have just unlocked infinite skill points in my game. The next step is to put it in action. I'm able to do exactly what I wanted. Use only Bailu and heal infinitely. I went on and did it for 30 minutes, but here is an issue. Berserk. That thing hurts. It has stopped me from a lot of my challenges because of the sheer amount of damage boost it gives to the enemy. And unfortunately, it stopped me from going longer than 30 minutes here. At 57 stacks of Berserk, the level 16 mobs is chowing down on my Bailu. But anyways, she has the turn here, which means it's either I die or I spray all of my pent up healing on the enemy through Bailu's legs. Clearly, I went with the leg thing. Oh, how much should we do? How crazy will this be?
Look, listen,
Yes, guys, we have just done 230,000 damage from a diagnostic kick. But I think it's over, guys. 57 stacks of Berserk it's just too much for a kid. What can she do? Don't worry though, my crippling game addiction is here for the rescue. In order to survive that crazy damage, which mainly comes from these burn stacks, I simply need something to cleanse it reliably. Just so happens I'm on the best path for that to happen. The path of abundance. If I'm able to obtain 12 abundance blessings, I can unlock 2 resonance upgrades. The first one will be the one that allows my path resonance to appear in my action order. Every time this takes a turn, I will get a smaller resonance prop. The second upgrade I have to get is the one that gets me subduing evil every time I activate my resonance. This is basically the cleanse that I needed. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you the solution. The burns hurt, but it is a debuff that can be cleansed. Subduing evil is basically what I need to cleanse them, and just so happens every time the abundance resonance take the turn, I'll gain subduing evil once. And with that, I've just unlocked the unkillable Bailu. It is time, my dear BB Rat. We are going to kick some butt. I went back in and did all my heals, survived through bursting flames that are just gone in an instant. And on the screen right now, you see a Bailu and the enemies that has 93 stacks of Berserk on them. It is time.
look, listen, feel,
I just want to say, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. An undeveloped kid literally kicking a space rock for 370,000 damage. I guess you could say she's kick ass. I got bullied in school for making lame jokes. That's okay though. I unlocked the achievement for going over 350,000 damage for the first time ever. That's all I need to be happy. But less about my well-being, more about the game. Have you guys realized something? I have just unlocked infinity damage, haven't I? Berserk caps at 99 stacks, and my Bailu is able to survive them fine with the help of the resonance. The 45% chance to regain a skill point blessing literally never ever sent me in a deficit with how many ultimate and heal bounces I have. If I keep looping this, I can do 500,000, a million, or even 10 million damage if I wanted to, which by the way would take about 40 hours to do, and that is just too stupid. I decided to do that for 40 hours just to see how much damage I do. Well, at least I tried. Unfortunately, Hoyoverse is pretty smart and they know exactly how their player base are kind of insane. Or maybe it's just me. Trust me, I know. I'm the guy who spent like a few days straight pushing Catherine across the map. They had to patch that out. But anyways, in Star Rail, they added a random darn turn limit. It doesn't tell you when it will happen, and the battle just ends with your loss if you hit that limit. That's also the reason why I had to stop at 93 stacks earlier, because I actually only tried to go for 40 hours before this. But I wasn't paying attention and it abruptly failed because the fight went on too long. I don't have the footage to show you what happened because, well, I wasn't paying attention and I was pretty annoyed. But it's basically just a lost screen you get from losing normally. If it weren't for this, I could have generally do 10 million damage if I wanted to, man. But yeah, guys, I think the challenge is over now. Bailu will never be able to hit 1 million damage like I so hoped for. The path with both threaded has been a thrilling one. And her hand will always be in mine because it's so darn tiny. But I came this far, man. I ain't giving up. I decided to give it my best shot. I obtained the absolute best blessings and is able to barely afford enhancing the point regain blessing and the healing increase blessing. I obtained the blue cheese somewhere along the line, which gets me 1 extra Eidolon. My Bailu is E2 to begin with because we're meant to be, which makes the blue cheese huge because at E3, Bailu gets a +2 increase on her traces. That basically means more healing and more recorded value for the Lightcone. I tried eating food, but I don't think they carry this maneuver, so I'm pretty certain that this is all I can do. With that, I gave it my last ditch effort. Based on my grueling tests, you will hit the turn limit if you keep doing what I'm doing here for about 1 hour and 13 minutes. So I decided to do it for 1 hour at full speed with the absolute best setup I can do. Let's do it, Bailu. You can do this after all those times we've spent together. Wait, that's not the... We got the Bailu! Yeah! Baby rat! We're here. I've done everything I can. It's 1 hour of full healing non-stop. Let's do it, Bailu. Become a god lolly. Oh god, I did it! My Bailu just did 700,000 damage with a diagnostic kick. How can you be so darn demonic? It's so adorable, man. But unfortunately, guys, I could not get the 1 million damage in. But then again, I think if I had full plus 15 relics, max superimposed light cones, max idol and Bailu, and the balls to keep healing even when I know the turn limit's around the corner, I might generally get 1 million damage. I know you can easily do more damage with a good Seele setup against the Doomsday Beast, so I might not be the guy who does the most damage ever in the game, but I'm certainly the only guy who unlocked this achievement with a gosh darn Bailu. How's that for unique? I'm happy. Playing Bailu makes me happy. She existing makes me happy. Why can't you be real? And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Bailu doing 700,000 damage with a good chance to hit 1 million if I get more resources. There's still a lot of intricacies to this that I didn't mention because it's boring and, well, why would you need to know? You're gonna try this out? But here are some if you want to know. You can't have your basic skill do enough damage to kill the mob. Your light cone damage wouldn't even show up if that happens. You also preferably shouldn't choose the Dewdrop blessing. I think if Dewdrop would kill the mob, your light cone damage wouldn't show up either. You also must practically obtain a blessing of abundance with every possible time they give you a blessing. Otherwise, you can't get to 12. It means you can't get a second resonance upgrade. In the case where you can't reach 12, just finish the monster with Seele or something and retry the world. It doesn't really take that long. You also can't charge on Bailu's light cone with the resonance because that only works if the heal came from the wearer herself. And finally, I think only Bailu could pull this off because Natasha doesn't really have the whole 3 proc deck. But anyways, as the new owner of the world's strongest Bailu, I shall end one of the funnest video I've ever done. I'll be doing more wacky stuff like these and maybe some .asu videos. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this one, if you like more, do leave a like and sub and all that jazz. And that is all. Take care!